Hello everyone, my name is Scorpion. Today we're going to be playing Ayutthaya for U4 1.32 Origins. Now, this nation is very strong, has very good ideas, and can form an even stronger nation, Siam. So, one of the reasons this nation is so strong is you start with two vassals, Sukhothai, Ligor. You have a really loaded mission tree. And also, you can use a bit of an exploit to form Siam much earlier than you're supposed to as this nation. Without further ado, let's just get right in. Okay. First, you're going to want to do your states. We're going to go give out religious state, primacy of the nobility, land of commerce, and tropical city planning. Then we're going to click on our capital state, go to the edicts, give out encourage development, click on Bangkok, develop production once, summon the diet, go with whatever you think is best. Sell titles, develop Bangkok again, this time with tax instead of production, and then seize land. If you did this right, you should have 5% crown land. Next, we're going to give out some more estates. Now, these are optional. I don't like to give these out very, very early on, but you can give out the lower advisor cost privileges because they will decrease a lot of your expenses. But I'm not going to do that because it's going to increase my stability costs and then make the estate all whacked up. I don't prefer to do it early on, but I will do it later. Also, same thing with religious culture. We don't have enough crown land to give this out now, but this is a very strong estate. I would give this out a little bit later. For nobility, we're going to give out strong duchies. For merchant guilds, we're not going to really do anything. You can give out patronage of the arts if you want to. Once again, you don't have to. We're going to be getting a lot of prestige early on, so I don't like to do this either. Next, we're going to go set some rivals. We're going to go Dai Viet, Lan Xang, and anyone else who rivaled you. We're going to get some allies. I prefer if you get Ava and Malacca. I'm going to get Malacca. Now, you can only ally one person per day, basically. So before you unpause the game, we're going to send a royal marriage to Ming. We're going to also start improving with our vassal Ligor, and we will royal marry them later. And that's our Diplo situation set up. Next, we're also going to take our army and move it to this province. We're going to hire some advisors and focus military power. We're going to get a morale or discipline advisor if we can. Level 1. Don't get any level 2 advisors right now. It's going to be too expensive. I'm going to get this morale guy. For your Diplo advisor, you can get Diplo rep, improve relations, or trade efficiency. I have a level 1 Diplo rep guy, so I'm going to get him. For admin, I would get a yearly inflation reduction or a yearly prestige guy. I wouldn't really get anything else. I mean, the stab cost could be nice, but get whatever level 1 advisor you have, basically. I have a yearly inflation guy, which is good, so I'm going to keep him. And then we're going to hire as many generals as we can. If they have bad stats like this, just kick them immediately. We're doing this to get professionalism for a mission, which we need 3 army professionalism for. Another thing to keep in mind is you have cores on all of Sukhothai here, so don't bother improving with them. The vassal you really want to improve with is Ligor. We're also going to take the monastic education decision. With our little bit remaining of money, we're going to build a fort in this province. This might seem a little useless now, but we are going to have a war with Lan Xang, which we want this fort here to avoid Lan Xang troops from just storming into our capital and wrecking up all of our prosperity there. Now that all that is set up, we're going to unpause a little bit and wait for our diplomats to come back so we can send out more alliances. Okay. Now that our diplomat's back, we're going to ally Ava. We're going to hire generals as soon as we can. Once again, just hire generals. I'm getting some not so good generals, but it's okay. You might get a better one than me. Okay, now that our diplomat is ready, we're going to improve relations with Ming constantly. The reason is we don't want to piss them off early on and get them in a coalition, because Ming in your coalition is not going to be fun at all. You're going to have to basically destroy Ming if you want to beat them in a coalition, which is almost not possible this early on. Especially since they have high mandate and will have high mandate for a while. After waiting about a year, you should have been able to hire 3 generals. And you can get the Win a Rural Duel mission, which gives you a subjugation CB on Khmer. Now, Khmer is a generally very easy fight, but they can get some strong allies. Usually they only get one, it's Pegu. In my case, they got an even weaker win, which is Mong Fon. But they could get Lan Na, or Pegu and Lan Na, or even these guys down here. Really just kind of random, but it's all doable. All of that is doable. So, what we're going to do to save manpower, because we're going to have a lot of manpower issues early on, is we're immediately going to recruit the Free Company in this province and wait for it to build up. We're also going to make our king a general in our main stack. Wait for the mercs. As soon as the mercs are ready, we're going to declare on Khmer. Now, because this merc stack isn't at full morale, I would be careful with it. They have a tendency of stack wiping it, so keep it together with your main army. I'm also going to slow it down, just so I can try to catch them. With your Free Company, just siege down their capital. Khmer's army typically sucks, so you can stack wipe them pretty easily. what we're also going to do is we're going to carpet siege the land before they can push out more troops. Once you're done carpet sieging Khmer's land, Khmer does have a tendency to spawn a lot of rebels, so I would actually move your main army out, just keep your army on their capital, and also try to siege down their allies in the meantime with your main army. Just leave all the fort sieging to your free company, though. Okay. With Khmer fully sieged down, and their ally really unable to help, we have enough Force Corps we need, so we're just going to vassalize them and take all their money. This will cause a coalition of sorts, but to be honest, you don't really have to care. We're going to be expanding into another direction. As soon as we subjugate Khmer, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our own Diplo tab. We're going to click on ourselves. And we're going to go to provinces of interest. We're going to request a few specific provinces. We're going to request this province, all of these over here, this province, and any provinces that are not requested by Malacca in this area. So all of them are requested by Malacca, so we're not going to ask for any more. Now, what this will do is this will get your subject Sukhothai to get claims here, and it will get your subject Ligor to get claims there. And your subject Khmer might have some claims on Champa already, or they might have claims on these guys. So as soon as you subjugate Khmer, we're going to check and see if we can fight these little stateless societies or Champa. Doesn't seem like we can fight any of them. That's okay. Once again, set them as provinces of interest so your vassal might get a claim on them. what we're going to do is we're going to take our army back, and we're just going to wait a little bit so we can improve relations with Khmer a little bit. We're going to do some more stuff that absolutely messes with them and makes them hate us, but it's okay, they will be loyal by the time the truce is up. Because we need it for a mission, what we're going to do after we've started improving relations with them is we're going to go to all their states and concentrate development in all of their states. This will give you a mission to populate Ayutthaya, and then another one, cultivate a mandala, which will give you prosperity in your central state, which is a reason we didn't attack Lan Xang yet. We're going to wait for this fort to be built before we attack them. That way they won't easily walk into here and destroy our prosperity. Make sure to set your subjects to siege mode if you haven't already. Okay, now that our fort is done in this province, what we're going to do is we're going to check our vassals and see if they have claims on anyone. Sukhothai doesn't seem to have any claims on anyone yet, which is fine. Khmer has claims on Lan Xang, and Ligor doesn't seem to have claims on anyone. This is fine. We're going to attack Lan Xang then. Now, in my case, I got really unlucky as Lan Xang has allied Lan Na, which has another level 3 fort in a jungle province, which is an absolute pain, but you will probably get more lucky than me. Nonetheless, we're going to attack them as soon as we get a diplomat back. At this point, we don't want to co-belligerent anyone that isn't Lan Xang. If you are fighting against Pattani or one of the 3 stateless societies and Champa, just try to take all their land. In my case, I'll be fighting Lan Xang, but you could be fighting any one of these 3 directions. Okay, that was an absolutely brutal war, but now that I've won it, what we're going to take is pretty weird. Now, we're going to take this province, this province, this province, and this province. Now, that might look hideous and disgusting, but we don't have much of a coalition yet, so we're actually going to take even more. Take this province, if we can. Take this province, if we can. At this point, the only real break in if you're taking too much in a peace deal is if you are getting a coalition with Ming. If you're not getting a coalition with Ming, it does not matter in the slightest what you take. But right now, we're going to take all this stuff. I know it looks horrible and disgusting, but we want to surround Lan Xang so we can kill them and nobody else can. And then we're going to take all the money we can and some war reps. Now, our borders might look hideous at the moment, but we will fix them. Now, while I was in this war, I also did a couple other things. One, when your king dies, you inherit Sukhothai, as you have cores on them, and it's through a special event. You can actually use a special event for a little bit of an exploit, but it's not very reliable since your king doesn't live that long, since he's a great general. If you don't get the event to inherit Sukhothai, you can integrate them in one day because you have cores on all their territory. Another thing is, for our government reforms, for your second government reform, I would take this special succession type or strengthen noble privileges. If you were in a multiplayer game, I would probably take the manpower modifier instead of the special succession, but for the sake of this single player, I would take this special succession type. It's very good, and it means you'll always have high legitimacy and prestige. Another thing is we're going to see if our vassals have any more claims on territory now that we're out of our next war. So it appears our vassal Ligor has actually gotten a claim on Pattani here, and our vassal Khmer has gotten a bunch of claims in the stateless societies in Champa. However, this usually happens, but in our case, Dai Viet here has attacked Champa and pretty much taken all the provinces. What you want to do, ideally, is vassalize Champa and give them all their cores back, but that may conflict with a certain strategy we're doing later. At this time, you can choose to either attack Champa, Dai Viet, one of the stateless societies, or Pattani. I am going to attack Champa before they get in a coalition with me. And I'm also going to attack Pattani as soon as my diplomat comes back. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to request all of the provinces that Pattani owns, and then we're going to call in Malacca, the Promise of Land, on Pattani. That way, Malacca will deal with some of the guys on Sumatra that we can't really get to because we don't have much of a navy. We're also going to spend one of our armies to siege down Champa. It's a pretty nice one, actually. At this point, you might be getting a bit of a coalition, but don't worry, we're going to deal with it soon. I wouldn't be worried. We have truces with Lan Xang, Lan Na, and another one of these guys up here. The only real worrisome members would be Pegu and Dai Viet. But once again, we are fine. If it declares on you, if this coalition declares on you, I wouldn't be too worried. You could probably beat them at this point. Once again, we're going to try to avoid a coalition by splitting it in parts. That way, there's not a bunch of little guys that join and we get destroyed. At this time, your main army probably doesn't have much troops left. We're going to have our main army stationed in our capital, just so they don't take any more damage than they already have. And we're going to have our mercs siege down everything. It would also be a good time now to declare on any of these little stateless society guys. When you piece out any guys in the south, I would take any type of money or war reps. Just anything that have a long truce timer, but don't take any provinces. We don't want any aggressive expansion down here just yet. When you've pieced out Champa, you can either choose to vassalize them or annex them. Because we have a province up here, I could do what I want to up here. We're going to actually cut off Dai Viet from China, but in this case, we're going to vassalize Champa so we can get their cores back from Dai Viet. And this will make a nice new little vassal. They're going to be a little disloyal at first, but that's fine. We're going to feed them a little bit more. At this point, I would also be stating your Lan Xang expansion. It's very important that you state your Lan Xang expansion. We're going to need it to flop to Lao culture. With our war with Pattani over, we're just going to take Pattani and feed whatever Malacca took to Malacca. We just kind of want them to not exist anymore. When you get the ability to take the enforcing our heritage decision, I would take it. Okay, with these wars against our little stateless societies done, we're going to fully annex them and give them to whatever vassal you would like. Now, in my case, because these guys are all Cham culture, and Champa is Cham culture, we're going to feed it to Champa. But if you don't have Champa vassalized and you're just going for like a normal conquest of Champa, I would feed all of this stuff to Khmer. Also, what we're going to do is, as soon as you're able to, we're going to start annexing Ligor, because Ligor here is going to be very disloyal if we have a lot of subjects due to their national traditions, giving plus 20% liberty desire. So we need to be very careful to make them as loyal as we can. Now, you could probably get some more rivals. We're going to get Bengal and Dai Viet. Bengal has gone for a really weird game. In my game, they started blobbing into Pegu. That normally doesn't happen. But it's fine. We'll deal with them later. Nothing to be alarmed about. Also, make sure you constantly keep at least level 1 advisors. We're going to have a lot of money, actually, and we're going to save that up. For any events you get also that involve Ming, take the option that improves relations with Ming. We want to keep Ming as happy as we can early on, otherwise they're going to be joining our coalitions, and they're going to break our tributary status, and then that's just going to get real messy. Now, probably what has happened is your Khmer subject has been pretty much dying the entire game to rebels. I would not help them. It is not worth the manpower. They're going to be very disloyal anyway. I mean, I'm improving with them, but once again, it's going to be really disloyal for a while. You're just going to have to deal with it. Same thing with Champa. They're going to be disloyal if you vassalize them too. And when you force vassalize, it's going to be really disloyal for a while. Now that we can, we're going to start annexing Ligor. Now that we're done with wars for just a little bit, we're going to start decreasing the autonomy in all of our provinces. Make sure you do this as you go along when you're not in wars. You don't want high autonomy, as it's going to really decrease your income and maximum manpower. So you just want to always try to keep this autonomy low. And because we have low crownland right now, we're going to be gaining autonomy in our provinces for a while. But don't worry, as long as you keep lowering it and keep suppressing rebels, we'll be fine. I'll also take this chance to start converting some of these northern Lan Xang provinces to Theravada. Now, I didn't really touch on the faith, but there are 3 Buddhist faiths. There are Theravada, Mahayana, and Vajrayana. I personally don't like the Tibetan Buddhism a whole lot. I think it's a bit overrated, but if you're in a multiplayer game, I would absolutely go with it. Early on, Mahayana may make sense, but I really like the advisor cost more than the idea cost. For Siam, we're going to be Siam, Ayutthaya, Lan Xang. We're just going to be staying Theravada. If you're Khmer, you can get an event to flip to Mahayana. But in our case, we're just going to say Theravada for the whole game. It's still a decent faith. Now, you probably have had the Renaissance pop up by now. So, as long as you're staying up to date in military tech, we can start developing the Renaissance. I'm going to get to at least Admin Tech 4 and Diplotech 4 before I start deving it, but we're going to dev it in this province right here, because we need more development for the Lao culture. We're going to enact encourage development, and we're just going to try to spam away on the development. And we're going to improve the trade center as well, so we can get a little bit of reduced cost. When you can, I would also get nobility in the officer corps. This will help with general cost. This is not my own. Oh, okay. Not my own war. Just one that AI called in with me and immediately won, so that's nice, I guess. Once you integrated Ligor, you're going to have a little bit of a Diplo rep penalty, but it's okay since we're not going to be annexing any more subjects for the time being. AI really liking to call me into wars today. this point, our coalition against us has dissolved, so what we're going to do is we're going to prepare for a war against Dai Viet. Alright, now we're going to declare our war against Dai Viet. I would line up your free company, your grand company if you hired it. I had to hire a grand company for the Lan Xang war. I would recommend you hire some extra mercs for this war too, since they have a lot of forts you need to siege down, and that costs a lot of manpower. If you've done it right, you should be able to get another free company, because the first free company you get in this game, this one, is tied to the time period, meaning you can get another free company. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out some merchant guild loans by taking indebted to the merchant guilds. It's fine, we'll get the money back from Dai Viet. We're also going to sell titles, some of the diet, and seize land. And then we're going to get some more mercenaries. Now, we can get another free company due to the reasons I just told you. And I wouldn't get more now, but I would save the money in case we need to. Once again, a lot of forts, and it's going to cost a lot of manpower. Manpower is really the resource we need the most of early on, so this war is going to be very costly. The war against Lan Xang was probably very costly to you too, if they allied some really annoying people, and like Lan Na for me. But in your case, you might be attacking Champa, you might be attacking Pattani or Malacca at this point. You can really blob in this way, this way, this way, or this way, down this way. So you can really blob in a lot of directions here. What we're going to do in this war is we're going to take a specific amount of provinces, and we're going to return Champa's course to them. If you don't have Champa, you might have gotten a claim the old-fashioned way, and you are going to be attacking for Da Nang or one of the provinces up here. Regardless of whether or not you have all of Champa's cores, or you just took it and fed it to Khmer, or you don't have any of these provinces, we're going to be attacking Dai Viet, and the peace deal should look pretty similar. So we're going to go with Reconquest, just because that'll overall be cheaper for us. In your case, you might be going with Conquest. Once again, we're going to go with Conquest in this one. Now, Dai Viet is also extremely isolated, so they're probably not going to have many allies. If they do, it's probably going to be like Pahang or something. Not a lot of nations have their faith. That being said, if they do get a big scary ally, I would prepare for a more tough war, but once again, don't think it's going to be much of a possibility. With Dai Viet 100% crushed, we're going to take our peace deal now. Now, if you perhaps reconquested, you're going to first return cores. We're going to return these 3 provinces, and we're going to take this one directly. Now, the reason we're taking this directly is because there's a fort here, and it's extremely useless, so we want to delete it. And also, there's a trade center here, so we want to use that. We don't want to give it away to our vassal. Next, we're going to take this province, and as many other provinces along this border as we can. In my case, I was not able to capture just about everything, but it's fine. Let's see if we can reorganize. Yeah, okay. So, if you're reconquesting, I would try to take these 3 provinces and then leave this one open. In my case, I was not able to do that to get all I wanted here, which is fine. A bit bummed out, but it is okay. That is totally workable. You just need this province up here and all of these, along with all of this area. So whatever allows you to get all those provinces, just go for it. I would try to get this province directly because it is a useless fort that is going to charge your vassal up, and also it is a trade center, which is going to subtract from our income a little bit, but it is fine. Once again, whatever works and allows you to get all these provinces. At this point, I would not worry about a coalition. You're pretty much too big for it. As long as Ming doesn't join, you're fine. Also, now that our war's over, we're going to repay as many loans as we can. And good thing, too, we can repay all of them. Now, we're not going to core anything. We're actually going to release another vassal. We're going to release Tonkin. Now, Tonkin has cores on everything we didn't just take. And what we're going to do is we're going to feed them the rest of these Vietnamese provinces. Oh, wait. I accidentally fed one to Champa, but it doesn't really matter. As long as you feed these provinces over here your vassal, you don't want to hold them directly. Next thing we're going to do is, as soon as we can, we're going to annex Champa. I would not take all their land directly just yet. We're going to feed them back to Khmer, other than the capital they have here. We mostly just use them for core returning, but at this point I'm going to get ready for another war with Lan Xang. You should still have a truce with them, but once again, we're just going to prepare anyway. Also, at this point, you should be deving the Renaissance. I'm pretty close to it now, but you should be deving it away. You should still keep your mercenaries. We're just so low on manpower early on that we kind of need to. when you're at peace here, I would also take the opportunity to feed some provinces to Khmer. We're going to feed this province and the province we built a fort in to Khmer. The rationale behind this is because these are Khmer provinces and we don't accept that culture. Also, we need to minimize our amount of unnecessary provinces for a cultural conversion later. So Khmer is going to be a very big vassal, but once again, we will get them loyal soon. I would also try now, at this point, to get them as loyal as possible. We're going to placate their rulers a bunch. We're going to try deving in their capital a little bit too, with a little bit of diplo power. And that will give you a mission called Crush the Khmer, which will reduce their liberty desire even more. And it'll also reduce the liberty desire of any vassals you have. Very strong mission, but it is not a shit. What was I saying? Whatever, forget it. Cut that out, cut that out! Alright, I'm gonna have to pause here. Now, as soon as you can, I would accept Lao culture. Now that our truce with Lan Xang is over, what we're going to do is we're going to attack them again. You should still have your claims from when Khmer had them, or Khmer will probably be getting more claims because these are Khmer provinces. Regardless, we're just going to attack them. I forgot to annul Lan Xang's alliance last time, but we're much stronger than when we were at the start, so this should be fine. We're also going to co-belligerate anyone that won't bring in more allies. So right now, everyone will bring in more allies. I could use this time to reset my truce timer with Dai Viet, but I don't think it's worth it. I don't want to waste the manpower. So yeah, let's just get right into this war. This should be much easier than your last war with Lan Xang. I know my last war with Lan Xang was very hard, but this should be pretty easy. For your third government reform, I would go with the corvée system. Very strong, allows you to get a lot of manpower, gives you construction costs, national manpower modifier, very strong. Maybe one of the strongest government reforms in the game. Now that we've spawned Renaissance in one of our provinces, we're actually going to take out some Bertolongs and embrace the Renaissance as early as we can. The tech cost is really bad in this patch, so you definitely want to get the Renaissance as soon as you can so you can get more mill techs and whatnot. Our first idea group is going to be explained when I take Admin Tech 5, but we're probably going to go with a military power-based one first. For any of the guys in this, these next series of wars, like the ones with Dai Viet, Lan Xang, any of these guys around here, you're going to want to basically get a long truce timer with them. Because we have a lot of aggressive expansion, so we don't want a lot of coalitions. And in order to avoid a coalition at this point, since we've honestly taken way too much provinces, we're going to have to use a truce juggling system and basically play all these little guys off each other and try to get us long truces so we can keep track of truces and then kill them when we're ready. So in our case, we're just going to go for whatever gives us the longest truce time we can. This is a little bit more than 10 years, so fine for me. We can get on the picture for a while. We don't really need their land at the moment, so that's why I'm not annexing them. But for any of these other little guys, we're going to annex them. We definitely want to annex any of the Lao culture provinces. So Muang Fawn, we're going to get rid of them, core their provinces. And then any of these Burmese guys up here, or Shan guys, pretty much anything out of like your culture group, all this stuff in this Burma region, I would just Burma, China, any of that type of stuff, I would just white peace them, or get a long truce timer with them in terms of like getting their money, trade power, that type of stuff. We just want long truces so we can juggle them and start, well, eating more of this Indochina area up. Now, we're going to have a lot of aggressive expansion up in this region for a while, so we're going to change our direction to start blobbing down here. For our first age ability, we're going to pick Justified Wars. Now, this war is finally over. We're going to delete our first free company. I know, sad, but it just doesn't have much manpower, and we're paying a lot of money for it, so we're just going to get rid of it. This does mean we won't be able to get 2 free companies at once ever again, but it's okay. We don't really need their services anymore. They've served us well enough. Now, for Lan Xang, what we're going to do is we're going to try to full annex them. And we can, actually. We can take the whole darn thing. Now, this will probably give a massive coalition. Yeah, Ming will join that coalition. So, we do need to try to keep improving with Ming. We're going to improve with Ming a little bit before we take this peace deal, though, so they don't get too pissy at us for blobbing all over the place. Another thing we could do is we could send a insult to Ashikaga, or any of Ming's rivals if they have any. If they don't have any rivals, just try to improve with them, or try to wait for an event. In my case, they rivaled Ashikaga, so we're going to scornfully insult Ashikaga so we can get a little more opinion. Now that Ming won't join a coalition, we're going to take all of this stuff from Lan Xang. Now, any of these non-Lao provinces, Lao culture provinces, we're going to feed to Khmer. and then everything else we're going to ignore. At this point, we can start deleting some of our mercenary companies that don't have a lot of manpower, such as this Grand Company. We're now mostly out of the early game. So we can afford to delete any of these merc companies. I know our name placement and country looks horrid right now, but we are going to fix it. Don't worry. If you have the ability to, I would also try to start knowledge sharing with Ming for a huge amount of extra money early on, but you probably won't be able to do that. You could try looking through some of your vassals too, see if they would like to share and give you some extra money, or some of your allies. But it doesn't seem like my Diplo rep is high enough, so we're going to have to wait for a while. Now that the early game is done, we're also going to start focusing on admin power. Try to get a level 2 advisor for admin, or a level 3 advisor if they're cheap. Once again, we're going to need a lot of admin. Also, I would disinherit heirs that don't have good admin abilities. We really need extra admin right now. Next thing we're going to do is start blobbing into these Muslim lands. So all these guys down here are Sunni Muslims. We're going to take the opportunity to attack them with Pattani, and we're also going to take provinces from Malacca. Basically, we want to take all this Malay area here. Okay, when our war is done with Pattani, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take the opportunity to vassalize Malacca. Usually you won't have the opportunity to do this. Just try to take as much of this Malay peninsula as possible, but in my case, I can actually vassalize the Malaccans. So we're going to use them in further conquests. We're also going to be able to return their cores to them, which is really nice, because we have a couple of provinces right now, but As you can see, Malaccas have lost a lot of their cores to other random nations, it seems. So we're going to be able to get those back. Now, when you have all of the Lao culture provinces cored, you can check through the little diplomat mode here. This part is going to be the most painful part of the entire playthrough, but trust me, it is worth it. What we're going to do is we're going to unstate all of our non-Lao culture provinces. So it is going to cost a lot of admin power. Once again, you can do this very early on with a exploit using Inherit Sukhothai, the Inherit Sukhothai event, but once again, very random, and also you have to conquer a lot of Lan Xang early on. It's just way too random for my liking, so we're going to unstate our country and try to convert to Lao culture. Since we developed the Renaissance in this province here, we have a higher percentage of Lao culture than we would otherwise have, and this is the reason you're supposed to dev it there. And then when we have the Diplo power, we're going to swap to Lao culture, because it's above 50% of our country. Now that we have a vassal down in this area, we're going to feed most of these provinces to them. So what we're going to do is we're going to set pretty much all of the provinces we don't own as provinces of interest. So these are all the ones we don't really own or are not currently occupying in our country here. So we're going to feed these back. To Malacca. Gonna feed all this stuff to Malacca as well. We can, of course. Once again, we're going to feed most of these provinces to our new Malacca vassal. If you don't have a Malacca vassal, that's fine. You can also get a subjugation CB on Malacca in your mission tree by going down the prepare an invasion path by just getting more fleet than Malacca. I would advise you, though, this is very hard to do generally because Malacca usually has a huge fleet until you crush them. So the way I did it is fine too, by attacking them and just happening to vassalize them. But you can do this mission and get a subjugation CB on them anyway. For me, it gives permanent claims because Malacca's already our subject. But the upside of vassalizing Malacca will be their huge navy. They generally have a lot of boats, and they can use those boats to help you out a lot. Now, as soon as you can, we're going to flip to Lao culture as our primary culture. We're going to take all the missions we can here. And we're going to restate all of the territories we destated in order to swap cultures. I'm also recore them. This again takes a lot of admin, so I'm just gonna have to get used to it. Now, once you've finished all your wars in the south, your game should look something like mine. At least the north area should look something like mine. In my game, I got really unlucky, and Palembang went Pirate Republic, Sambas went blobby, they blobbed all over the place, and Malacca was really tiny. I don't know how any of this happened, but now I'm getting raided, and that's not fun. But when you can, we're going to restore Lan Xang. Now, what we really need to do is we need to embrace new traditions and ambitions. The reason we're taking Lan Xang ideas is for a specific mission. We're also going to take all of the missions we can. Yeah, pretty simple stuff. Now that we're Lan Xang, things are a little bit different, but not very. We have a different mission tree, and we have different ideas. Now, we absolutely need more of this Cav Combat ability, so we're going to get this Elephant Cavalry idea, and then when we get that idea, we're going to take 1,000,000 elephants, this decision right here, and that will give us Cav cost and Cav to infantry ratio for the rest of the game. And that works when we flip to Siam. So we're going to want to take this mission before we go to Siam. We're going to stay Lan Xang for a little bit, actually. Also, subject play will become considerably harder as Lan Xang as opposed to Siam, so keep that in mind. We're not going to be forming Siam yet. So for the meantime, we're going to not prioritize this mission. We're going to deselect it. We will take it when we need to, but right now we don't need to. That being said, you probably have a stack of troops, and you have a couple of mercenaries left from your early conquests. What we're going to do is we're going to start recruiting more cavalry, because this is a Cav nation. Absolutely a Cav nation. So because our combat width is 24, I'm going to go a little bit over the combat width. It's always okay to go a little bit over the combat width. And I'm going to get 6 cavalry. Now, this isn't a lot of cav for early game, but we don't have the traditions that we don't have the traditions that Ayutthaya has anymore, so our cav is significantly weaker. We only have base cav. Now, when you form Lan Xang, it also disband your coalition. So I guess take that with a just keep in mind of that as you play. You can use it to disband a coalition, forming Lan Xang if you really need to. But once again, there's not going to be a lot of coalitions that can beat you at the current moment. So, also, another thing is, we're going to be staying as Lao culture until we're done with our experiment in Lan Xang. We're only going to flip back to Siamese culture when we're done with our visit as Lan Xang. Okay, sorry about that one. That took a very long time due to Palembang being a pirate republic, which is not anticipated, but we do have them beat at this point. Once again, you probably won't have to deal with anything like this, but I'm never a lucky one. So, I'm just going to take pretty much all the land that will be useful to us, and then yeah, sorry, this was a really rough war. It's not supposed to be this rough. In your game, you will probably have nothing as close to as rough as this, but once you are done mopping up the Malay Peninsula, you can start moving back to Dai Viet and Lan Na as we need them for missions. Once again, you're just kind of like blobbing all over the place until you get a proper idea set done. we're very behind on ideas because I had to unstate the country and then restate it, but you are probably in a similar boat. If you did the exploit involving the Inherit Sukhothai event, you probably won't be behind on admin, but your game should look something like this right now. You may have more down here, you may have less down here, you may have more up in this region, you may have started expanding into Burma, but once again, we're going to need to finish some ideas in order to finally form Siam. Alright. At this point, I've annexed Champa. I'm going to give this Vietnamese province back to Tonkin. We don't need it. It's fine. However, I am going to state all of this Champa land, mostly because I am very small compared to all of my subjects. I now have 4 subjects, and that is quite a lot of subjects for how big of a country we have, so I'm just going to end up stating all this stuff. There's no reason to let it all go to waste. But since we can, no, don't count straight development. Look at what they did to my boy. Also, what you should do If you haven't done it already, I would have a trade efficiency advisor and a yearly inflation advisor at the same time, so you have a chance to get the radical reforms event. When it pops up, I'll show you what to do, but basically you want these two advisors in order to get it to spawn. It will give us a lot of free administrative power, which we really need right now because we're horribly behind on technology. For our second age ability, we're going to take war taxes, mostly just so we can decrease our amount of maintenance on troops, but if you're still using a lot of mercs at this point, I would definitely get it, but there's also kind of a lack of a good option at this point. Pretty much nothing else good we need. Okay, so now we've gotten radical reforms to spawn. Now, we want to take this option down here, but what we're going to do first, so we don't lose these advisors, because they're fairly good advisors, we're going to kick both of them out. And then we're going to take this option, and we're going to immediately rehire them. That allows us to get some technologies. For the first idea group, you have a couple choices. Now, I personally prefer quantity for this nation. Quantity is a really great opener because you're going to need a lot of manpower. We don't have a lot of manpower. You're probably still having manpower issues, even though you have like all of Indochina at this point. You can also pick quality if you're in a multiplayer game and you're about to go into a player war. You can go exploration if you want to finish out these islands down here, maybe get the Cloves provinces over here, maybe go into the Malay, the Philippines. Or you could go aristocratic and just go full horses. In order to get a mission done, we need 25% combat ability. Get our Lan Xang mission done, we need 25% Cav Combat ability. So you could go with either aristocratic or equality to do that. I'm actually going to go with aristocratic because we want that Cav ability early on, and also this gives us more force limit at the end here, and some monthly autonomy change. Next, we are going to go quantity or economic. We want to get quantity and economic very early on. about that. When you unlock the ability to do so, I would build workshops in as many provinces as possible. You can take out some burger loans or sell some titles if you really need to get some extra. You can take out burger loans or sell some extra titles if you need to get more money to build workshops. So, yeah. God, I suck at this. For your fourth government reform, we're going to go with meritocratic recruitment. For our second idea group, you can take either influence or economic, or quantity. If you didn't take quantity the first time, and you took something like exploration, I would take quantity or equality. However, usually what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick either aristocratic or aristocratic, quality, or quantity, and then you're gonna go economic next. I went aristocratic first, so I'm gonna go economic now. Once again, we went aristocratic first, so we get the Cav Combat ability for our mission, so we could form Siam faster. After economic, our third idea group unlocks at Tech 10. Now, in these three first idea groups, you want to have quantity and eco. You want to make sure they're at least those two are in your first three group of ideas. So you can go economic first if you really want to. I don't like taking admin point ideas first, especially since you need to restate half your country as a destination. Also, you can't do 2 mill ideas in a row, so you could go exploration, economic, quantity. You could go quantity, economic, expansion, or aristocratic, or quality. You go quality, economic, quantity. Still a lot of options you can have, so keep those in mind as you play. For your third age ability, you can really pick whatever you want. Most of these aren't very great for you at this moment, but if you went exploration, I would go higher developed colonies. If you didn't, just go adaptive combat terrain or cavalry armies. Okay, so now colonialism has spawned. Of course, we didn't spawn it. You may have a chance to spawn it if you are going colonial, but in my case, I didn't. So the reason we took Pattani here from Malacca early on is so we can dev a institution here. Whereas the first one, you want to dev it so we can go to Lao culture. I have this one converting to Siamese as normal, and we are going to dev the second institution here. Ugh, I'm tired. Oh man, I might just see some. No, no, I won't. remember, when the Age of Reformation comes around, to stop your war taxes, otherwise you're going to lose a lot of mill power. Oh no. Oh, this guy's a real loser. Oh no. when you get the ability, we're going to take all the missions we can, especially the ones relating to the Buddhist side of the tree. So we can get this one faith modifier if we get all of our bonuses to Theravada. So we're going to try to do that as much as we can. When you can, we're going to take the Convert the Polytheist decision, which gives us Tolerance of the True Faith and Missionary Maintenance costs for the rest of the game. Alright, when you're able to, we're going to do a war against both Dai Viet and Lan Xang. I had to wait a very long time. As you can see, it's 1517. I had to wait a very long time. I even integrated Khmer. I had a lot of aggressive expansion that only just started to really thaw out at this point. If you are a bit faster, you probably won't have to do anything like this. You probably won't have to sit here and wait for a while. If you were a bit faster, you could probably blob out into Bengal. But I really just want to show how to form Siam with all the modifiers of Lan Xang. Not looking for speed here. Once again, you may be behind me. You may be way faster than me. You could have used the exploit to form Lan Xang and swap to Lao culture very early on, and not have been so behind in admin as I am right now. But no, furthermore, let's just get started and try to beat Lan Xang here. We're also, at the same time, going to declare on Dai Viet. Alright, so when you can peace out Lan Xang, take their whole country. Take it directly as well. You just want to own the whole thing. You will get a coalition at this point. Doesn't matter, you're already probably huge. Also, you can take some extra missions, that'll give you some more power points. At this point, we can fully annex Dai Viet, so we're going to do so. Once again, this will give you a coalition, but nobody cares at this point. And we're going to feed the rest of these Vietnamese provinces to our vassal Tonkin. Your game should look like this. You have Big Lan Xang, you have Tonkin here, and you have a vassal down here, or you directly own all this down here. Or you may not own all of it, there may be a couple provinces in which you don't own. That's all fine. Now that we finished the Invade Dai Viet mission, we're going to get the 1,000,000 Elephants mission, which gives us cav cost and cav to infantry ratio for the rest of the game. Very strong mission. And then as soon as we're done coring this stuff, we're going to be forming Siam. Now that we've completed all of Lan Xang's missions, and we've fully annexed the whole Indochina region, as well as gotten some vassals in Malaya, we can now form Siam. Make sure to take those new ideas, they're very good. Also, this brings us back to the Ayutthaya mission tree, so we can take all these missions down here as well. At this point, you're pretty well positioned to take on Ming, anyone else, anyone in India, and you can go any ideas later on. I only managed to dev the institution in one province, so I haven't embraced it yet, so I'm a little behind on technology. Your game may look similar to this, but by the time you form Siam, it should probably be 1500. If you did the exploit, I'd say like 1470. You really do want to stay Lan Xang and get those ideas, so you can get that permanent modifier. As you can see, we're going to go to our permanent modifier, and we have 1,000,000 elephants, because we are actually Lan Xang. So we get that modifier forever. Cav to infantry ratio is really good as this nation, so we can stay as them and have a nice 70 cavalry to infantry ratio. If you have any questions or you just want to come talk, I have a Discord link in the description. To all of you, have a good day.